It is live. This is Coach Arnie with the Health, Love, Life, and Adventure Show. And this is WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And my contact information is 602-390-9144. You can email me. And tonight we are going to be talking to a couple young ladies that I just recently got to meet, and they're actually working in my boot camp in the morning. I've known their dad for 40, actually I've known of him for 42 years. I think he was a freshman. So 42 years. Yeah, 70, 60, 79. And so he brought his daughters to the boot camp because they were into fitness and wanted to get themselves in shape. So lo and behold, they showed up, and it's nice and cool in Phoenix, Arizona in the morning, right? And they're there early. They're there early. These ladies are there at 5:45 in the morning. Like, wow. Who else is doing that? No one, right? No, there's a lot. But I'm impressed just with that. The fact that for a couple weeks now, you have showed up early in the morning and you're working hard, right? Do you feel like you're working hard?
Yeah.
I think you are. And so I invited, we were talking the other day, and I said, hey, I've got a show. And they go, and it just came. I said, hey, would you like to be on the show? And they kind of looked at each other and said, yeah. And I said, let's do it then. And bang, they just jumped in both feet, not even thinking about it. So here we are. And now we have competition because we are in Phoenix, Arizona. Dude, I'm just not watching the game. So they're watching the game because we want the Phoenix Suns to win a world championship for the first time ever, right?
Right.
Yeah. So they're watching the game. So if they go crazy, it's because the Suns are doing well. If they start crying, it's because they're not. So, but we're just gonna have a fun conversation here. We're just like the topic here. We're just talking health, life, and guests. So let me just start off with both of you. Let's just introduce yourselves, and then talk about maybe what are kind of your health goals with the whole boot camp thing, and what are you thinking here in this summer? What are both of you thinking? So why don't we just start off with Molly, and you kind of introduce yourself.
I'm Molly. I'm the older sister. So we were just listening to your podcast right before we came on here.
Oh.
I realized I don't have any specific goals, and I need to start thinking about what my goals are.
Okay.
I consider myself to be somewhat healthy already, so I'd like to maintain that.
Yeah.
And also,
but at your age, I mean, and you don't have to tell us how old you are, but at your age, is health something that you do think about?
Absolutely.
You do. So you know now, you're old enough to now, or you've lived enough that you know that health, having energy, being kind of, well, especially after the last year, right? And everybody being sick and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of important to have good health, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And it is just something that you talk about with your friends, Molly?
Yeah, most of my friends are pretty health conscious. Those are the people that I surround myself with typically. I just feel a lot better when I'm eating well and I'm moving my body and I'm sleeping and not drinking too much. I just feel a lot better and I'm more productive and happier. So,
and it just came to mind. I mean, when I first met you, I asked you what you were wanted to do, but you've had somewhat of a pivot. So what are you going? You're getting into the health field, right?
Yeah, I want to be a nurse practitioner. So I'm taking prereqs right now for nursing school, pivoting from social work. I was working in the foster care system in New York City for a couple of years, and
wow,
that was healthy for my mind or my body, and so I've pivoted.
And that just reminded me, my sister-in-law is just got here, and she's staying again with us for probably another week. So if it's something that you want to talk to her about, since she is a nurse practitioner, I mean, I will definitely make that available to you. So just that was a kind of a flashback reminder. So Katie, being the younger sister, is health something that you think about on a regular basis?
It definitely is, and I'm lucky to have Molly to look up to for that, because she's definitely kind of kick-started being healthy, and it's been nice to follow in her lead. Also, with my generation and social media, there's a lot of like body shaming and like body dysmorphia, and I've struggled with that, and I know a lot of my friends have struggled with that. So I think my goal is to just like maintain a healthy weight and like become stronger.
Is okay when you bring up body shaming? No, because I was just talking with somebody just literally 10 minutes before I jumped on here, a friend of mine in North Carolina, and we were talking about how a lot of people that are heavy are literally being, I mean, they are body shamed much more than I've actually posted some videos on my Facebook page, and of this gentleman that I've been working with. His goal is, you haven't met him, he comes down to where you guys work out, and his goal is to lose over 100 pounds. And he's done a couple of real vulnerable videos where he's talked about how people are discriminatory towards him just because he's so heavy, and people don't talk about that.
Yeah,
So,
it's awful. It's awful to live in a world where people are always comparing themselves to others, and I think it's been really bad in my generation. Growing up with social media, so prevalent. Yeah.
Well, because I think everybody, especially on Instagram, people see these guys and ladies. I mean, all the guys with the six packs, right? And all the ladies that look like they have zero fat, and so it's like it's almost, and who knows how many of those pictures are photo cropped and all that stuff, right? That we don't really know. But we're constantly trying to compare ourselves to these people, and it's unrealistic. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've just started to learn that this year. It's like if I'm eating healthy, that's fine. Like I don't need to eat less, or I don't need to eat more.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Feel good.
Well, I've done work in the whole food addiction world since 2008. And I think we talked a little bit about this. I'm not sure if we did or not, but it's probably, here's why it's the worst addiction. It's the only addiction that you can't go without the drug. Think about it.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And it's, to me, and I've been around it, I know you guys a little bit as well, addiction, but to me, it's the worst one. Because in our community right now, ladies, it is this underlying, it's like right under the surface that no one wants to really talk about, because food, especially this last year, with the way we've made food so easy to get. I mean, we're talking about, you can call now you can get Uber Eats and go pick you up a freaking Big Mac now.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's so easy.
We've made it so you don't have to leave your house now. You can get your chocolate milkshake, your Big Mac, and you're good to go, right? And we've made it so easy to eat unhealthy. And so, how many people do you know? I mean, that when life gets a little tough for them, like it has this last year. I mean, not being at work, not wanting to go to work, or maybe someone that they know didn't do well, maybe passed away or whatever, that as soon as they feel that kind of stress, they want to go to food, because food is so comforting, right?
Yeah, I know a lot of people like that.
It's very, and you've heard that term, comfort food. It's real. It's a real thing. It's no different than, a heroin addict or a drinker, anybody that goes to that drug of choice, which is for them is food. And and for most people, because I've worked with them, they don't know. First, they don't even see that it's a problem because food. You can't tell someone not to eat, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So they're eating, and then all of a sudden it gets kind of. Then they get shamed into eating. Why? People are making fun of. Why are you eating all those Big Macs or, milkshakes or the ice cream or whatever food they're eating? Whatever. That's. And so they start getting shamed about that, right? So then, when people start getting shamed about what they eat, what do they start to do? Do you know?
Eat more.
Well, they eat more, but they eat in private.
Yeah.
Don't they?
Mm-hmm.
They really do. Because a lot of people, what they do is they'll wait till their friends, like their roommate, goes to bed. Then they get up and they go eat the box of cereal. Or they'll finish off the quart of ice cream. Or they'll finish off the bag of potato chips. And then the next morning or the next day or maybe the next weekend, someone says, "Hey, Molly, where are all the potato chips that were here last week?" And I don't know. I never saw the bag there, right? Oh no, this is classic, and it's gone.
Yeah.
And they'll blame it on the dog or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's them, and it is a big deal. I mean, like boxes of cereal, bags of potato chips, and it's generally not like steak, right? It's the other stuff. It's the sugar, salty, fatty stuff that is just that'll put the weight on you, and and then they go through this whole thing of well, that's the whole flip-flop between bulimia and anorexia, right? Because they eat tons, and then they want to do what?
Get rid of it.
Purge.
Get rid of it.
They purge, yeah. But hey, I'm just sharing. This is the kind of world that I know a lot about, and they purge until they decide, well, fine, I'm not going to do this purging thing anymore because it hurts or it's not making me feel good or I'm guilty. So then they do what? They just say, I'm not going to
Eat anything.
I'm not going to eat anything. And I've been at places where they're literally these young ladies, mostly young ladies. There's some guys get into this too, but mostly young ladies. And I've literally watched them walk around with an IV bag on a little cart because of having to be on a feeding tube because they won't eat. It is.
That is.
Oh no, it's sad. It's and a lot of these too. A lot of them there are multiple addictions too. They'll be drinking as well or doing other drugs as well because they need whatever. It's complicated. It's a very complicated, and it's triggered by a lot of things. Like what Katie was saying, it could be triggered by shaming or a friend or a relationship. I have a niece, not a niece. She'd be a cousin. Yeah, my wife's cousin. She was married, and she has a great young daughter. Great. And the guy she was married to was a jerk. And I'm not sure if there was any abuse there, but I'm sure there was some verbal abuse. And neat lady. She's a school teacher. Has been a teacher for, probably 30 years. And she she's, just way, it's not even, it's so sad to see what's happened to her. And a lot of times, I know people that will do that, let themselves go really bad because they're afraid that they'll attract a relationship into them that could be abusive.
Wow.
So they make themselves unattractive. So they, in their mind, remember this brain here is crazy. In their mind, they're telling themselves, well, if I'm not attractive, then I won't have to worry about it.
So many factors.
Oh, yeah.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's insane. So, and these are things for you young ladies because one is you're going to run into friends, people that you know. I know Molly will, if she's a nurse practitioner. I guarantee you she will. You will, Katie, because you're in school. It's around you. And well, both of you are in school, but if you can see that, sometimes people just need someone to talk to.
Yeah.
Because a lot, yeah. I know as a man, guys, when I do a lot of work with men are classic for isolation. We will isolate. So we'll go and, grab a bottle and just isolate and fall asleep, pass out. That's what men do. They isolate. You ladies have more of a tendency to kind of share and, talk to your friend. You know what I'm saying? For the most part. But at the same time, when they start to get quiet, that maybe that might be the time to kind of step in a little bit and say, hey, is there anything going on? And sometimes, because in this country, I think it's around 80% of the people that go for help are women. 80%.
Wow. That's a lot.
Men don't reach out for help. It's a tough process for men. And that's why usually when men are at the point where they're asking for help, they're at the bottom. Bing! I mean, they're bouncing around on the bottom, and it's a tough hoe for them. And that's why there's, we can get really crazy here. That's why for men, the suicide, I should say and this is a big topic, right? Because as young, I do a lot of work with anxiety, mental health. I think Molly and I, we talked about this a little bit, right? And so anxiety and mental health issues with young people is off the charts right now, right? It really is. And so when you talk about suicide, which is way up too, for men don't have as many suicide attempts as women do. They're just more successful. So there's actually more suicides of men, because they're a little bit more they're a little less dramatic but more successful, if you know what I mean. Young women, younger ladies are more after attention, so they make kind of like dramatic, the whole, I mean, it's crazy. This is a whole, but it needs to be looked at because it's not getting better.
Yeah.
Not getting better.
Do you think in general women are more after attention than men are?
Yeah. Because men get quiet, Molly.
Okay.
They isolate.
But you don't think men, just in general, like removed from this topic, removed from mental health, like in general, across the board?
Everybody wants attention.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody wants attention.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But when it gets to that point where they're like not getting what they want, because look, number one fear in the world is I'm not going to be loved. Across the board, men and women, I'm not going to be loved. Number two, I'm not good enough. So for men that feel they're not good enough, they will begin to do stupid things. Men do dumb behavior things. Okay,
Absolutely agree with that.
To get attention. Look at me, I'm cool, or I'll get in a fight, or whatever, for the attention, right? To maybe in a relationship to show them, or they may do something violent and push somebody around. You know what I'm saying? Or because of because they don't feel like they're good enough, or it's never good enough what they're trying to do. Maybe their job is they're not bringing enough money. They're not this or not that. They're just not good enough. It's really classic for men. Now, women do too, but women, it's more of the the love aspect of it. They want to be loved, obviously, but they also want to feel safe. They want to feel safe. So if they're in a relationship and they're not feeling safe, then they may do things to either try to get away or create some kind of a feeling of safeness in their world there. It's tricky. It's really tricky, but it all stems off those two things: fear of not being loved. So, which is why women will do things to stay in a relationship that they shouldn't be in.
Yeah.
Because they don't think they're going to find somebody else. Guys do that all the time. Guys do it all the time. And so, do you ever feel in your own lives, and being that you're both pretty young, that those two fears, do you think about those things?
Absolutely. I would say, like, sorry. We have love from this dog,
What's your dog's name?
Bo.
Bo?
Bo.
Welcome, Bo.
You.
How are you, Bo?
He just
Bo
wants to
feels
be
loved.
loved.
Bo
He's
feels loved, right? He feels
Yeah,
loved.
Bo is well loved, and Bo loves hard.
Well, you've all heard the joke about the dog. Well, really, the difference between a dog and a cat, but a dog is that, you could. There's so many jokes. If you locked up Bo in your car and left him there for 4 hours and came out and let him out, what would Bo do?
He'd be excited to see us.
Yeah.
He would jump all over you and lick you and be so excited, right?
Uh-huh.
If you did that to your dad, what would happen?
He'd be really mad.
He might laugh.
Or your boyfriend,
Yeah, I
right?
Over real well.
They probably wouldn't be very happy with you, would they?
No.
And so that's the difference between that's unconditional love.
Yeah.
See, and we're all looking for that,
That's what we
because
want.
the only way to close here's, let's say if I'm working with somebody and they like a young lady and her boyfriend or whatever, or husband and wife, and they're trying to figure out, what's going on in the relationship. Women want to feel safe. They want to know that they're being taken care of. Maybe, the rent's being paid. There's going to be food in the refrigerator. If there's children, that you want to feel safe. You do. You don't want to feel like this guy's trying to go out on you. You want to feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you want to be loved, right? You want love. Now, when I get in a relationship where there's trouble, the gap between feeling safe and love is pretty big. Make sense?
Yeah.
But the only way for this relationship to work is if you can get love. Oh man, we went over. Hold that thought. We went over time. So we're going to hold that thought for a minute, okay? Hold that thought. Hold that thought. We are back with Katie and Molly, and we're just talking about love, and I think they're getting their there they are. We were talking about love, and when there's this gap between, like this with ladies, it's like feeling safe and love. The key to a relationship that's going to work is when you can get love to be above feeling safe. But that's where the work is, because if you feel loved, okay, then all that other stuff just takes care of itself. Get it? But if you need the person to make you feel safe, then it becomes conditional. I'll love you if you make me feel safe. That's conditional love. But I feel love, so everything else is falling into place. That's your dog in the car.
Yeah.
Because you love your dog, you would never ever lock him in the car.
No.
Correct? You wouldn't lock Bo in the car.
No.
But if
No.
it did happen, it would be like a mistake and you'd feel horrible about it. And so that's why when you get up and when you're in a relationship, if you don't feel safe because this person is continually doing goofy things to make you feel unsafe, because you can't change that other person, can you?
No.
You can only change you. So what happens is there's three. I'll show you something. There's three levels of love. There's the love that means I'm going to demand that you love me. Now there are some cultures where that's the way it is. You have to love me no matter what. Now, do you think there's going to be a lot of passion in that kind of relationship?
No.
And then no. Now the second kind is what I call horse trading. So that's what we were just talking about. If you make me feel safe, I'll love you. If you do these things for me, if you bring home lots of money, if you did, I'll love you. That's where most relationships end up. That's called horse trading. I call it horse trading. You do this for me, I do that for you. That's for most. Now, what most people are looking for, really all, is unconditional love, meaning that I'm going to love you no matter what. And that's the kind of love that you take your heart and you hold it out in front of you like this, which scares the crap out of most people. Because when you hold your heart in front of somebody, what could they do?
Break it.
They could smack it all over the place because you can't guard it. And most women want to guard their hearts, right? I'm not going to let you hurt me. No way. And so that makes it hard to get to level 3. So let's say you were in a relationship with somebody and you're going, I'm all in. I'm going to love this guy or this person at level 3. But they're at level 2. Okay, that's cool. But and there's ways to do this. So you love them at level 3. They're playing down here at level 2. And eventually, if they want to, they can come up to level 3 with you. Because they're finally going to say, you know what? I'm jumping all in. And it happens. It's pretty amazing when it does. Now, at the same time, most of the time, a person at level 2 will wear out a person at level 3. Because you're going to be giving, and finally you're going to say, enough. I've had it with this person. They're wearing me out. Because they don't give. They take.
So
And that's where most, if you know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And that's where a lot of relationships end up. And then they go, see ya.
Bye.
So how do you, what would be an idea that you might have to avoid that?
It's really hard because in this day and age, it's really hard to trust people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't have an idea on.
Do you have an idea, Katie?
I don't. I really don't.
Well,
Talking to two very love avoidant people.
what's that?
We are very love avoidant. We don't want to be hurt. So
Well, there's a great book out there by, her name is Stasi. I would recommend it to you. Stasi Eldridge. It's called Captivating. It's a wonderful book. Captivating. I loaned it out to somebody. I never got it back. But it's a great book. And they talk about this exact topic here where a lot of young ladies will build a castle, literally a castle, brick by brick, around their life to protect. The castle is protection.
Yeah.
But in reality, what a lot of young ladies are looking for is some knight in shining armor that's going to ride by in a white stallion and rescue them from the castle and take them on a great adventure. And it's amazing how many young ladies, deep down in that heart that's all protected with all that barbed wire and brick and mortar, really are looking for that. If they could trust, right? Because if you could put your heart out there like that, Molly, and it not get broke, what would that do?
Well, my heart would just be out there all the time.
Yeah. What would that do, though? How would you feel? If you could put your heart out there in front of you and it not get broke.
I could trust more.
Well, you would love more, too.
And I would love more.
Absolutely. And we're all looking for that, but it's hard.
It is.
So one of the tricks to doing that is, one, knowing exactly what you want. So I have a 4-step process that I teach. See if this makes any sense to you. You ready?
Yeah.
I've taught this in workshops. First thing you do is you take a piece of paper and you write down everything you want in a relationship. Everything. It could write a book. I mean, from what they look like, what they do, where they're from. I mean, everything you can imagine. It's your deal. Got it?
Got it.
So you do that. So that's list number 1. That's a big book right here. Write it down. List number 2. You look at list number 1 and you go, okay, who do I have to be to attract what's in list number 1? So that means, what changes do you have to make? Maybe you're somebody that's not as trusting. Maybe you're not as whatever it might be. You have to look at yourself.
Yeah. So what's step number 3?
Okay. Well, first of all, let me ask you this: what are the things? What list can you control? 1 or 2?
2.
2, because that's what you can change, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So list number 3. This is the shortest list. What are no more than 5? I like to say about 3 to 5 things that you absolutely will not ever put up with.
Red flags.
Big time. So let's say you're dating, because I'm a big fan of dating. Most people don't like to date anymore. They just hang out. We're just going to hang out in a group because it's safe, right? I got all my friends here together. We're all hanging out. But if you date somebody, and you got to know your list. So if on that first date, I don't care if this guy is the most perfect person on the planet, if one of those red flags pop up, what do you have to do, Katie?
Say bye.
Leave.
That's it. You got it. It's over. It's over but most people, men and women, don't say bye. They go, I'll change it. I'll make it work. You can't. It won't. They won't. And you'll get frustrated and resentful, and it usually ends really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's you, but you got to know, most people know their list 3 better than their list 1. They go, what? Because if I say that, I've told people, hey, I want you to write down everything you want. And they go, well, I know what I don't want. You know, like if they've been from an abusive relationship, they go, well, I don't want anybody that drinks, and I don't want anybody that does drugs, and I don't want anybody that does this, and I don't want, they go, whoa. And they're like, okay, that's cool. So they know what they don't want, right? So now we got to get them to think, okay, what do you want? What do you want? And so that's the 3rd list. And then the 4th one is, where does this person hang out?
Like, what crowd are they in?
Where do we find them?
Exactly. So I've had guys come to me, ladies, and they were, let's say, heavy, not taking care of themselves, talking like sailors, and they're looking for some model. And I'm going, okay. And then they go have beers on a Friday night at the corner bar. And I'm going, probably not going to show up there for you.
Probably not.
Probably not. No. So their ideal person may show up at a concert, may show up at an art museum, may show up at a play, may show up at a sporting event. You know what I'm saying? But so they have to put themselves in that environment. Then they have to make those changes that would attract this person, because there's something in your brain. It's called a reticulating activating system, RA. It's like sonar. It's like sonar. Let's say that you're looking at a pair of shoes or a dress or a dog, anything, a car, anything you want, and you really, really want it, right? You've ever had something like that? You really want this bad.
Yeah.
Have you noticed what happens?
Your body like wants it too.
Well, you really want it. Have you noticed what happens? I mean, it really does happen.
You work to get it.
You see it everywhere.
Oh.
You start seeing the red truck,
yes.
or the cool shoes, or you start. Wait a minute, that's the exact dress that I wanted. That's the hairstyle. Whatever you did, you start seeing it because your brain will start to focus in on it and look for it.
Huh.
It's amazing.
Huh.
So when you really, really, if you write down, if you meditate on what you really want in a relationship, you will start seeing that person out there. You really will. You know, whatever it might be. I don't know. Everybody's different. You'll start seeing it out there. And then it's just a matter of, now, if I'm not the person that's going to attract that, well, then you're just going to be like two ships in a night here. But if you're the person that's going to attract that person, now, once you do attract that person, now you've got to put your plan into effect and say, okay, all right, I've attracted this person. We're having a conversation. Now I've got to have my interview. Okay. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. If you go on a date, aren't you going to talk? I worked with this one lady, this young lady one time. She was going to ASU. She was a paraplegic, pretty young lady. She used to come to my clinic for rehabilitation. And so then I started working with her at her house and all this other stuff. And she was going to ASU, and then I was helping her with her dating. And she would go out with guys, and I'd go, her name was Ashley. I go, Ashley, so tell me, who is this person? Well, their name is such. I go, what about their family? I don't know. Where are they from? I don't know. How many brothers and sisters they got? I don't know. And I go, wait a minute. So I would tell her. She would then have a series of questions to go to the next date with. And so she had a plan. So she got to know, because how are you going to know the red flags?
Yeah.
Get it?
I mean,
You don't.
yeah, you have to.
You gotta have a plan here. But this is why we're not dating anymore.
Oh. I mean,
Everybody
I think people still date.
yeah. Swipe
just-
left, swipe right.
Yeah, it just looks different.
it just looks different.
Yeah,
and
it looks a lot different.
Like that.
I do not like that way. But
No, they do. I mean, look, it's different. It's faster, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, internet dating is faster. You're not having to go out to the nightclubs like we had to do, or it's just faster because everything's faster now. So you've got to be on your game a little better. I think you do, so that you're either moving on quicker, right? Do you feel like you're doing that, or is that frustrating? When you date somebody and you got to like move on. What do you think?
It is frustrating. It's frustrating to put any effort in and then
Have nothing come out.
have
of it.
nothing come. I mean, but I don't really. I just got out of a 5-month dating situation this week.
Yeah.
It's been like a roller coaster of feeling like bitter and angry and frustrated, and then remembering every other time I've had something like this end, whether it be more serious or not. And you grow from it, you learn from it.
Yeah.
But it's a process, and growing pains are not cognitively. I can tell myself like this is good, but it doesn't. My body is trying to catch up with my head. It doesn't feel good, so my body's trying to catch up with my head. And as much as I want to CBT myself, it doesn't always work.
I call it a level 2 experience. And you know what? And I'll explain it. But you know what? The key to life, for both of you, is being able to take a level 2 experience and make it into a level 1 experience. So a level 1 experience is something that feels good. It's good for you. It's good for others, and it serves the greater good. Right? That's good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A level 2 experience doesn't feel good.
Right.
But it's good for you.
Okay.
It's good for others, and it serves the greater good. So if you can figure out, and I think Molly, you're onto something right there. By you being rational about the experience you just went through, and saying, no, I didn't waste 5 months. I learned 5. And at your age, this is the time to learn. I learned things that I want and I don't want. And so you'll be able to turn a level 2 experience into a level 1 experience that now feels good because I'm learning from it. I'm learning what in my next, because see, if you get to the next relationship, Molly, and 5 months later you go, ugh, I did it again. I dated the same guy, the same crap, and now you're just going in circles, because now it's not a growing thing. Now you're in a level 3 experience. It's just crap because it feels good, but it's not good for you. It's not good for you, and it doesn't serve the greater good. That's the crap that most of us do every day.
Yeah.
Because it's easy. That's part of the problem too with the dating thing. You swipe right, swipe left, and think, bam, you got a date. Then what?
You keep dating or you don't.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you do. You keep dating or you don't.
Ghost
right?
them. Yeah, ghost them.
Or listen, both of you said it a little while ago. You said we're both, what'd you call it?
Love avoidance. What our
love
dad.
avoidance.
Yeah.
Love avoidance.
Shout out to my dad.
My dad.
I'll call it a pause, Katie. We'll call it a pause. You're taking a pause, right? Because you don't know. I mean, tomorrow you could run into some dude that'll knock you off your feet.
But hasn't that happened in the past and it hasn't ended super well?
Probably you. But if it did, then you'll have evidence that you did, right? So then you'll be guarded. You'll be guarded until you take a look at that list and you go, okay, okay, all right. And now you're on guard because you don't want to make the same mistakes again, right? And at some point, this person will start to earn trust, which is behavior over time.
Oh.
That's trust.
Behavior over what?
Time. Makes a lot of sense.
That does make sense. So do you think that by making these lists, these like 4 steps, you think that's a good way to like knock down a guard?
I've had people tell me both ways, like, oh, it's got to come naturally and all this stuff. But you know what? To me, and this is somebody who's been married 35 years. To me, if I was in your shoes, it's a plan. It's strategic. Because look, love at first sight, ladies, is real. It's chemical. It's a real biological event. Okay. And then I always ask, then what? because that will wear off.
It does.
It's real. You can't fight it. It is what it is. There's a chemical thing that happens between people, and then if you don't have a plan, then you're going to probably make the same mistake. So you have to know what you want, ask questions, family, jobs, all those things that I talked about. And if you don't know that, then you're just going to be kind of sputtering around, jumping in and out of relationship, which is fine until you get to the point where it's not fine, where you do want more, because you got to know what you want. And if you're looking for, at some point, both of you are pretty young, so at some point you might get to, you say, look, I want more. And until you make that decision, it is what it is.
Yeah. I'm there. I want more.
Yeah. And when you want more, then you won't be so worried about, it won't be so much as the love avoidance thing. It'll be more like, okay, I'm just going to be a little more strategic here.
I also just more open.
Yeah, well, you're going to attract people. Both of you, I don't think we're ever going to have trouble attracting people. That's not going to be the problem. The problem is, what are you going to do after you attract them?
Keep them or leave them.
Well, you're the one's going to be dealing with that. You will be.
Yeah, we have to make a plan.
Yeah, and whether it's, look, I'm just teaching something that I ran into many years ago that seems to it's a little bit more strategic. And this, I thought of this, and I went through a workshop myself way before the whole internet dating thing was that big. So this is something that, not quite 20 years ago, but quite a while ago, and maybe 20 years ago. And there was no, swiping and all these other things that are available today. All right. Hey, listen, I want you to get back to the game. We're flying here. Look up. We're having fun here.
We're losing.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's still early, right? Third quarter?
Third quarter. We have 4 minutes and 44 seconds left.
What are we losing by?
56-69.
Oh, whatever. They played terrible in the fourth quarter. Either way, I want to thank both of you for being on the show tonight, and get some rest so you can work hard tomorrow. And if any of this makes sense, fine. And you obviously you know me, and you can ask me questions. And if I can help you in any way, I would love to. Okay.
Thanks, Arnie. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
See you in the morning. Thank you for coming on at such short notice. You're awesome.
Of course.
Appreciate you. I hope your dad watched.
He did.
He did?
We don't know. See. All right.
All right. Yeah. Talk to you later. Bye. All right, everybody.